In this video, I'm going to break down how you can avoid setting a giant pile of your money and your time, frankly, on fire by starting an AI marketing agency and what you should do instead. For those of you who don't know me, my name is Brian Downard. I am one of the partners at Prospecting On Demand, where over the past decade, we've served more than 1,000 marketing agencies, helping them install acquisition systems into their business. Our clients have earned more than $300 million in this program. We have built an 8-figure consulting agency around this program, and my business partner actively runs a marketing agency doing $1 million per month. So I have a particular insight into what is working in this space and what does not. Now, I'm not saying you shouldn't use AI. I'm not saying you shouldn't sell AI marketing services, but I'm going to help you avoid a lot of the common pitfalls you are likely sold by the gurus in your feed. And again, what you should be doing differently. So let's break it down step by step. The first thing you really want to consider is the AI agency wave is unfortunately recycled hype. Now, what do I mean about that? A lot of the people you see pushing programs or courses around starting an AI marketing agency, I'm not going to name them. You can think of a bunch off the back of your hand if you're here watching this video. But the idea is those same people were pushing doing SMMA a few years ago, right? Or even before AI, doing chatbots or automations. It's the same pitch on a new wrapper. And the reality is, they are selling you a lifestyle. A lot of times people pushing these courses that are a couple $1,000, they're selling you a lifestyle based on the homes that they live in, the cars that they drive, showing you bank statements, etc. Look, like there's nothing wrong with making a lot of money, having a nice home, having a nice car, but you got to ask yourself, are these people making more money selling you a course on how to do the thing? Or are they actually making their money from doing the thing? The reality is, a lot of times people find it's easier to tell someone what to go do instead of actually doing it. And what happens is, unfortunately, because we get a lot of people who join our program after they've been through some of the guru courses, claiming it's so easy, anyone could do it, you could just sleep and wake up and there's money in your bank account. Like, they hide the reality of actually needing to structure an offer, needing to get good and develop skill sets around sales and selling and acquisition and getting clients. They ignore what fulfillment and retaining those clients even look like, building a team, and actually getting the business to cash flow enough money to make it worth your time. Because here's the reality. AI does not remove the hard parts about running a business. It just gives you new tools to struggle with, to learn. And I literally, even just before I shot this video, got a text from a prospect who told me they're going to hold off because they want to go figure out how to leverage the tools better. They want to go deep dive the rabbit hole of AI, when in reality, that just is creating friction for them to actually go get customers, because AI, which we'll talk about here in a minute, is a commodity at this point. You can find anyone to do this at lower rates. And if you are just trying to put yourself in that same bucket and be a freelancer, again, nothing wrong with that, but you're going to end up taking on clients that you ultimately have to do all the work for. And then you can't actually scale the business because you're a commodity, not positioning yourself as a premium. So more on that in just a minute. But here's what I would be doing instead of following this AI wave hype. So you need to accept, first of all, that starting any business is going to be hard. It's going to take you longer than you expected to. And just because you mutter the words AI agency doesn't mean people are going to throw money at you. I want you also to really make sure you are getting your advice from people who have run a real business, a real marketing agency through multiple seasons and multiple different markets. People who actively do it, not who did it 5 years ago and sell you some course based on theory, or again, someone who makes most of their money selling you the course on how to do the thing that they don't even do themselves. Really want to avoid that. I really, really also need you to understand that AI is not going to do all of the work for you. Yeah, you might have a full-time job elsewhere, other responsibilities, kids, your health, your life, your family. It's hard. I get it. It's not supposed to be easy or everyone would do it. And AI is not some magic wand that is going to do all the work for you. Can it make you more efficient? Absolutely. Do I use AI every day? Yes, absolutely. But really, good example and kind of a microcosm of this was at the high level event we sponsored back in October. Billy Jean, who I got a lot of respect for, he's a really good marketer. He got on stage and he showed everyone this outbound voice AI that will do outbound dials. And everyone got so excited, like, oh my gosh, this is the best thing since sliced bread. But the reality is, it doesn't work in the way you expect it to. And even if that is okay right now, once AI robo-dialers really take off, I would bet any amount of money that those are going to get shut down by rules and regulations in place by the government to not just have AI dialing all day. And even if they do allow it, you're going to see why that doesn't make a difference here in the next step. So number 2 is the problem with the AI agency trend is it means you are just putting yourself into this generalist bucket. What do I mean by that? When you are a generalist, you are a commodity. A commodity is almost always competitive based on the price at which it's sold for because there's an abundance of people doing and selling the same thing. However, when you can specialize, that allows you to now charge a premium. And even worse, when you are a generalist, which means you have to compete on price, you pretty much have to customize everything because you say, hey, we can do different AI employees or chatbots or solutions for different businesses. And therefore, every single project you get is a puzzle piece, not only in terms of selling it, but also in terms of fulfilling it. And if you do not have an assembly line for a future sales team or your current sales team and your future or current fulfillment team to continuously have a standard operating procedure to do the same thing over and over again, you will inevitably let plates that are spinning in the air fall because you're trying to chase 2 rabbits at the same time, or more than that, chase 5, 10, 15 rabbits at the same time, and you can't catch any of them because your attention and energy is spread too thin. And here's the reality. Your clients don't want AI. They want outcomes. They want more revenue. They want lower costs. They want their time back. They want fewer headaches. And if you try to run paid ads or do cold acquisition, just saying, hey, we use AI to grow your business, okay, you and everyone else, they would tune you out. And so what I want you to do, and again, I'll talk to you about this in just a second, you need to get specific about who you serve and how you serve them so that they actually listen to you and don't just lump you in with everyone else selling the same exact thing. And the reality is when you are a generalist, you ultimately have to price towards the bottom of the barrel because you're competing against people who are on Fiverr, who are overseas promising the exact same thing at a much, much lower rate. Which also means for you, you're going to have a churn issue because clients will get shiny objects and they'll think someone's AI solution is better and they'll jump to that because it's cheaper or different. You'll have smaller retainers, smaller lifetime value, which means you cannot spend as much to acquire premium customers. And then selling is really just based on you instead of the outcomes you provide, right? Because ultimately people will buy because, hey, I like this person I'm speaking with. They seem sharp. I will buy from them. But then you get stuck with being the face of the business forever. You become the freelancer who has to sell the thing, who has to deliver the product because you're selling based off of personality, not what you actually do. So here's what I recommend that you do instead. Pretty straightforward. So we have a formula called the 3S framework. Essentially, it is specific person, specific problem, and specific process. And so what that looks like is you want to be able to call out an ideal client profile that your offer could serve. So, hey, we help roofing companies who have at least 5 trucks on the road and an active pipeline automate more bookings. So we've called out a very specific segment of the roofing market, right? It's not just roofers. It's, hey, this segment of the roofing market. You don't just want to call out one niche too, because again, a lot of times if you are not clear, you'll get bottom of the barrel people in that niche because you weren't clear and they're not clear. And so you find each other and then you're wondering why your ads are not producing. So the next piece is having a specific problem you solve. What does the AI actually do for them? It doesn't matter that it's AI. It matters that, okay, this will save your front desk staff time qualifying bad fit leads and booking people on your calendar. This will keep you as the owner operator off the phone qualifying, etc., when you are supposed to be out on jobs. So again, what is the specific problem that your solution is going to solve for them? And then a specific process. And this is one of the most important pieces, and frankly, in the entire video and any marketing lesson you could get. But if you are not naming your system, your methodology, again, you are putting yourself at risk of being put into the bucket of, hey, everyone else does this. What makes you different? So I always go back to this example of P90X. It's a fitness program. Who even knows what P90X means? And it's not the first fitness program, at-home fitness program. And it's not the last, but what Beachbody, the parent company, understands is when you give something a unique name, it differentiates you from everyone else in the market, and it gives you a unique selling proposition that no one else can have, and it therefore establishes authority, establishes leadership, and allows you to increase and charge a premium because no one else is doing it. I really also, and I just spoke about this, packaging the unique opportunity, but if you cannot productize your delivery and your offer before you scale, you might just through sheer will and force and hustle get to 50K, 100K a month and beyond, but you will have almost no profit margin and no repeatability because you can't train salespeople to sell it over and over again because every sales call is a puzzle piece. On the back end, your fulfillment team is doing a bunch of shit that they aren't clear on, and they're just trying to keep the plate spinning in the air. I already covered this, but if you do not productize your offer and your fulfillment before you try to scale, even if you can scale by sheer force and effort, personality, whatever gets you there, it's going to be very, very difficult, and you will not be as profitable as you could have been if you had a repeatable process you could follow from day one. All right, last step here. Number 3 on my list is the more that people are inundated with AI, the more that people will begin to pay for realness. I saw a really funny video from Gary Vee the other week, and he was talking about how what he sees in the future are almost like Uber for renting friendships and relationships. And so it could be like a walking app where people are literally paying other people to go on walks with them and just talk and have a human-to-human conversation. I know it sounds silly, but people are really, really good at recognizing patterns. And when they recognize patterns, they tune them out. So once they start to hear AI voice agents over and over when they call a business or when they're getting an outbound call from a business to them, or they go online and they see content consistently that is clearly generated by AI because it feels wonky, it looks weird, or even in the future, AI is so good, they don't know what's real and what's different. People will start to seek out more and more realness. And the really good example of this is the idea of live streamers versus content creators. The reason why live streaming has become such a crazy popular and in-demand kind of segment of media consumption is a lot of the OG content creators, even before AI, they were using Photoshop to make the pictures look better. They were using crazy filters to make things look more vibrant and beautiful than they really are in reality. And you see this distorted perspective of the world and think you're missing out on something when it was really just hyper polished and hyper edited. And what happens again with AI is when they see enough of this, they tune it out. It doesn't feel real. And so they go to things like live streaming that can't be faked yet currently by AI. And it feels real because they can engage with that person. They can see it happening in real time, and it doesn't feel fake. Because the more synthetic content that exists, the more bots and the more automations, the reduced trust and leadership and accountability there is. Because let's be real, if you have another human being that you care about holding you accountable to doing something, the likelihood of you doing that is way higher than some AI automation or chatbot that actually doesn't think or feel or give a shit about you. It's just going through the motions and taking action. But when you can have that real person you trust in, and you trust in their leadership, and you trust in their decision making, that level of accountability is so much more real, and you can make so much more impact when you do that. Because again, the more artificial that things become, the more premium human leverage is. Trust and clarity become the true currency not the content, not the format in which it was created, but actual trust and clarity and feeling of this realness. So what I believe in is you need to be able to win is become a strategic partner and a problem solver. So I guess I should have thrown that down in here into what to do instead. But here's a couple of more things before we bring this home. You need to be more valuable than every other lead vendor out there, every other AI agency out there. And here's how you do it. We recommend for our clients a model called the SPA offer framework. What it stands for is strategy, partner, agency, and there's 3 parts. The first part is a service that fills your client's bucket with water. When I say fills their bucket with water, I mean gives them new opportunities, new business. That could be Facebook ads, Google Map Pack rankings. It could be database reactivation, something that brings in new opportunities to their business so they can grow and have just advertise, right? Get their name out there and not just die in obscurity because no one knows they exist, but help people understand and see they exist and bring them into their ecosystem. The second thing would be plugging that bucket and the holes in that bucket where opportunities are leaking out. This is where you can layer in AI. AI is really great for texting and setting appointments with new leads. Maybe it does some level of qualification when people are calling in. Maybe you have missed call text back, or a chatbot on their website that will they can chat with right then and there. So this or retargeting ads for people to come back into their ecosystem. So it's a way by which you take attention, water, etc., leads, opportunities already generated in their bucket and make sure none of it is leaking out the back door. And the third part, and again, this is where this trust and clarity comes in, and real human leverage is becoming more of a fractional CMO, not in the sense that you are going to do all the work for them, but you advise them on where the other bottlenecks are. Because if any of you have been running an agency for any amount of time, you've probably heard a client say something like, "Oh, the leads suck. This is terrible. You're fired." When in reality, the leads didn't suck. They just didn't have a process for working cold acquisition. They were used to people walking through their door, word of mouth and referrals. They didn't know they had to actually pick up the phone and call and work the leads. And if you didn't let them know, that's just as much your fault as it is theirs. And if you can't advise them on some of these things and be that trusted strategic advisor rather than someone who just says, "Hey, we're going to do AI for $100 a month," they will churn out very, very quickly and you will not have a sustainable business. So here's kind of just the 5 things to do. I'm going to bring this home. Thank you so much for your time. If you enjoyed this video, do me a huge favor, hit the like button and subscribe to the channel. It helps us reach more people and just juices the algorithm a bit. I sincerely appreciate that. And if you want to check out our 8-figure agency playbook, you can drop a comment playbook below and I'll send you over a copy. But just to put a nice bow on this, instead of starting an AI agency, here's what I would build. You want to have a specialist business that solves one specific painful problem for whoever you are selling that to, right? So for a specific client, and then AI can support that solution, but you own the outcome. It's not AI. It's the outcome produced, the problem solved for a specific person, because when you can communicate that problem that you can solve for them, it increases in their mind the likelihood of your ability to solve it. Not because you said AI, but because you had clarity and confidence in the problem that they have and how you can help solve it for them. That's where the real leverage is. This is what I'd recommend you do. Hopefully you found this helpful. Again, if you want that playbook, just comment playbook below. I'll send you the link. No opt-in required. You can get that totally for free. And you can see how we've built our 8-figure agency. My business partner has built his almost now 9-figure agency on track for that. And then how we've served thousands and thousands of people through our events, through our community, free and paid. Hope you got value from this. See you on the other side.